everyone, what is going on my YouTube friends? Phoenix61 here with some World of Warships Legends, right? So this week marked the the sweet spot for the campaign where you can get the Michelangelo without paying too many doubloons, right? You get your 2,500 for the Admiralty back, and you can see we're doing pretty good in this game. 74,000 damage. We hit that Conqueror right there in the beginning of the video for a decent chunk as well with these SAP rounds, which are really great. I am in a lower tier game. We have a Stalingrad and either a Montana or a BA Montana, right? So legendary ships. I'm getting picked up by the radar from the Stalingrad and didn't realize how far out this Montana had moved. So this is your friendly reminder that this is still a cruiser. Fancy new ship can still get dev struck by by big battleships, right? So we will move on to better days, right? In our Michelangelo. So yeah, fresh new game here. We spawned on the CCAP side here. We're gonna move all out wide, see if we can't help with some crossfire type situation, whatever. And see what spawns over here, right? One destroyer in this match, so it looks like that's probably over in the B cap. So I'm gonna take my time and hold my fire here and try and get in position, right? Because if we fire, we would get spotted by this Tirpitz and anything else that's probably coming around that corner, right? Not quite in range of torpedoes, right? It looks like he's probably slowing down just based on the distance that the torpedo thing was telling me, right? But we'll keep moving around the corner here. We always do, the thing just to talk about this ship just really briefly before we get too into the game, but I really like this ship, but I like weird ships, so this is definitely a weird, unique one, and so that's kind of why I went for it. There's been a lot of campaigns lately that I've just been skipping because at some point, I've been playing the game for so long now that I have, so many tier 7s and tier 8s and premiums that I'm not playing or that I don't like, so I get a little more picky with the campaigns, whether I buy them now or not. But so this one was so weird that I was like, all right, I gotta have this, right? So your main battery guns are these middle turrets. A lot of you guys already know this, right? But so you can't fire those turrets forward, right? They only fire out the sides. The nice thing is they do turn 360, right? So that's super helpful. That helps make up for it a little bit. But you really gotta kind of, it's got really great secondary batteries as well, so I've built into those, and I've tried a couple of builds, and this is a couple different commanders on this thing, and I think I'm using the Azure Lane one here, but honestly the free commanders are just as good, if not better, depending on how you want to play it. So I'll show you kind of my opinions at the end here, but yeah, you can see Atlantico is within range of secondaries. And I think my firing main guns within smoke is 7.4, right? So we hit our smoke, and then I'm just going to not fire my main guns because that'll keep us unspotted here. And you could see these secondaries do just wicked awesome damage. This is a fun ship. It's fun. But yeah, with these main battery turrets in the middle that can't fire forward or aft, right? You really got to open yourself up broadside to be able to fire at some of these ships sometimes. And so it's use your rolling smoke or fire from over cover, right? Which these guns fire pretty straight. They don't arch too much, right? So you can that's a little bit limited. And you can angle a little bit, but sometimes it's not the greatest. Yeah. So Harbin here, we'll see if we get our main guns on him while the secondaries work on the battleship. So we kind of do double duty, and I think with the build I'm using is a little bit of a mixed bag. So I think I have my secondary battery range is 9 kilometers, right? Which you can get, depending, if you use a battleship commander with Porcupine and go full on out, right? You can get them up to 10, I think. I don't have my commanders completely fully upgraded, right? I don't spend too much money on the game, so I don't have everything all the time. But I think with the build I was doing with the battleship commander, and I always forget his name, but I'll show you at the end here. I think my secondaries got up to 9.9, and so with switching to a battleship commander, you know, then you lose out on some of the like cruiser unique perks, right? Like that those commanders have, and especially like I lean towards fully packed for the legendary perk, right? To get an extra, you know, these extra consumables. You get a lot of the like secondary battery boosters, right? So I haven't used all, you know, I think you get 5 after fully packed, right? So I haven't gone through all of those in a game, but I do go through all my heals and my smoke screens quite a bit. So, you know, if we had those longer games. So that's kind of why I've been like leaning towards this build, but I think it works really, really great with the Battleship Commander as well. And yeah, you can see here we got to open up a little bit of angle to get these bullets off on the turrets. It's always hard to tell with those, some of those ships whether those are main battery or not, but like I'm angling, you know, I'm pointing towards him because I know, like, you know, if I angle poorly towards the turrets, we'll take a bad hit, versus this Baltimore whose bullets are a little more lobby, right? But like, yeah. And then we'll see if we can't get some AP rounds on him, right? So if you still get, you know, you do have the option of, yeah, we'll take out that Baltimore. You do have the option of, instead of these SAP rounds, you could just leave the HE rounds on there, right? So if you wanted to be a fire starter still, right? Because you almost can't do that, right? Like the secondaries are SAP as well. So yeah, so we clean up on this side. So we're gonna press in towards the B hole here once we get this capped, right? But we got like literally everybody on my team that's surviving is this way, with the exception of one sorry soul battleship over there, right? That's in middle spawn area. So we'll make a rush towards B to try and help our team out. And by our team, I mean we are leading the charge here, so we will probably take the first hits. But yeah, so yeah, you do have the option of leaving the HE rounds on there, right? To instead of switching to, you know, equipping the SAP. But I mean, you kind of got to go all out, right? Like this is, you know, some of these Italian cruisers are, that's kind of what they're there for, right? So we build into the SAP rounds a little bit. The commander's got a little bit that helps with that too. But like I said, if you were to pick, you know, maybe if you were to pick a battleship commander, you know, you could leave those HE rounds on there. You know, like it's totally like player preference in my opinion. But the SAP like really does, like, you can really wreck destroyers really quickly, and then you can do pretty chunky damage against you know, bigger targets like battleships and stuff, you know, just by lobbing bullets, right? But you know, you're not going to trigger fire, but you're going to get the damage, you know, up front, basically, is kind of my thoughts and feelings, right? So we can get some cheap shots off on these battleships here while we're kind of behind cover. But yeah, like that's like decent damage against the Republic, right? So we're up to 80,000 now with 1 kill with that Baltimore that we took out. And then we'll see if we can't sneak into the B cap and maybe continue firing at these guys. We'll get one last shot off before we have to use the smoke screen as we come around the corner here. Need to aim a little bit higher, I think. Yeah, so we'll just remain unspotted here and not fire our guns till we get into the zone. And then we can use the smoke if we want to, right? Thinking like maybe we just push in behind this island, like see if we can't get away without using our smoke just yet. So if I can hold on to these, that'll be beneficial, right? Yeah, we can get this shot. Although I'm not going to be able to slow down quick enough here for any more. There we go, another 4,200. Alright, we're spotted by something. What is over here? There's the destroyer, but I didn't think he was over here. Oh, I think this the Michelangelo. It must be the Michelangelo. Yeah, he's got rolling smoke too. And then those torpedoes, yeah. So we're gonna point in. We're gonna have to point in towards these battleships too, man. And like this would just be, it's a good thing he sent his torpedoes already. So now we can send ours, and then I switched to AP, but I probably should have just fired first instead of that. And then we got the secondary battery booster going, right? So it will take him out. Atlantico got the final blow there. And then I triggered my rolling smoke because his is going to dissipate super, super quick anyway. So this keeps us unspotted. The Republic's within range of our secondaries, so we can keep working him. We get these torpedoes off, and then we're going to have to angle. We're going to have to worry about this Georgia. and this Republic so that we're not angled poorly as we go unspotted as we come out of the smoke. So I'm going to take the shot because we know we're going to get spotted here anyway, and then turn towards him and just hope Georgia isn't ready to shoot. I don't know, he might be too close to be able to hit us over there to that island. So we get close quarters there, and then it's just the Georgia and the destroyer. And we're up to 145,000 damage. Yeah, so like at like 222,000 or 220 secondary battery hits right at this point already. Like that's awesome. Like so much fun for a cruiser, right? All right, so we know, I think it's a Hayate that's left, so we know we're in spotting range of him. So we'll try not to maintain course for too long here. He may be hunting down that battleship behind us too, who knows. Alright, now we're unspotted. Alright, I'm gonna, I'm gonna mix it up and we're gonna take a left here. Because I'm gonna assume, yeah, this Georgia is gonna come out this way. Uh-oh. Ooh, and we got torpedoes. It's a good thing we turned. That was perfect timing. Torpedoes, too bad torpedoes aren't ready yet. We could have sent them through there. But I don't think this Georgia can hit us here. And then, yeah, now we've got 10 seconds left before, well, if we can keep within fully pack range, we'll get our smoke screen back when we need it. There we go. So, yeah, we still got smoke screen, heal. So, like, this is why I kind of, I lean towards this, the cruiser build. It's because I like the consumables, but that's kind of my play style. But you absolutely can use... And there's even the free to play commander. All right, we're getting spotted by the Hayate here somewhere. All right, so we'll use the smoke and then we'll make our turn here in towards the Georgia. See if we can't hunt him down. But even the free to play commander is so similar to this Azure Lane one that it's like it's almost not worth it. Like you can do such like a very, very close build to the same thing for this if you wanted to. And I'll show you what I'm talking about too, but I think the biggest difference there is going to be like it's nice having the extra commander just so that you can, you can have the different like options for it based on the secondary battery build versus, a main battery build for like the vast majority of my other Italian cruisers, right? So see if we can't finish off this Georgia. We know firing our guns is going to get us spotted, but he's almost dead. And we're coming out of the smoke screen anyway. Yeah, this may have been the only time I was close to using, and like this is a new ship, right? I've only played a handful of games with this, and we played a few games with it on live stream the other night too, and we had kind of so-so. There was definitely one game I was just like too aggressive and got our butts kicked, right? But which is like, that happens, right? Play like an idiot occasionally because it's fun, and then I complain. So let's see if we can't hunt down this Hayate as we get this final zone cap, and like literally just shooting guess torpedoes, right? I always say this with ships that I like. I'm like, oh, I kind of wish that the torpedo range was a little bit better, like that kind of thing, but because only the other Italian cruisers, it's like 12 kilometers, and this one, they shrunk it down to 8, so, but turnabout's fair play, get the awesome secondary batteries, so shouldn't complain. So 50 seconds left, so this is like one trick, like I'm always like, okay, I'm not spotted, he's probably going after other ships, right? There's 3 battleships, that's where the damage is, right? Like I would go after them if I was a destroyer, right? With this, short amount of time. So I think like some people, like I was thinking he was off to this side maybe, just running, just to like, because some people just try and survive the end of the match which literally does nothing for you. But I checked the mini map and you can see the smoke screen here, right? So if you check the map view, sometimes you can see like torpedoes or bullets and stuff like flying from the map, so that's like a good way to like find people in these instances. If they're able to attack somebody else, right, you could see, potentially see smoke screens, torpedoes if they had been spotted, things like that. So I would have probably kept looking to the other side if I hadn't like done that. So I take the guest shot into the smoke screen, but time's up. So we'll take a look at the leaderboard quick, and then I'll kind of go in and talk to you about like what I my like thoughts and feelings on the like commanders, right? So we're using Azulane Zara, which is the paid commander. I think those are still available when I posted this. We'll see. But yeah, you could check the store. But yeah, there was like the return of Azure Lane recently, and you could go in and buy into the old commanders from past seasons. But yeah, we do get top of the leaderboard there and walked away with some silver. And then, so this is what I did for the build for the modules, right? So I went secondary battery mod, right? That gets you the 20% extra range. I'm a big fan of propulsion mod, and then concealment. And then I went secondary battery mod 3 for that spot, and then between that and the commander, that gets our, you can see over on the rightish area there that you can see it gets our secondaries up to 9-kilometer range. So Zara has this, her base trait is cruiser main gun SAP shell damage, and then I have commander Chancellor Gowron on here for like the defensive perk, and then Franz von Hipper, of course, he's a free to play person, right? And he's kind of a must for inspiration for any secondary battery build. But Gowron gets us this like damage nerf when you have secondaries going beyond range, and then this one is a little bit more damage if you're firing your main guns quickly, and then Sponge gives you some armaments, HP, and less incoming damage, right? Like kind of like that. And then I went fixated here for better shell grouping. Refill stations, always a good choice, but you guys know me, I kind of tend to lean towards fully packed. I like my consumables, but like I always say, if you find yourself not going through all your consumables, then pick refill station, right? So this guy here, Luigi, like he is so similar, right? So like I would use his base trait is kind of the it's defensive incoming damage, but that would replace the like Sponge one in the third row, right? Like like you could, you don't get sonar, so I picked the torpedo acquisition. But here, this is what I'm talking about, subtle munition. So he has this trait that buffs SAP shell damage, which was the Azulane Zara base trait, right? So like to me, like they're just in different spots. These are very, very similar commanders, right? Like this base trait is that would be the Sponge that was in this row, this third row, right? Like so it's, to me, it's just not that much difference. Suppose you get incoming fire dispersion there, right? So base trait, plus 5%. So his SAP shell damage, that was even more, wasn't it? Like for that, so like that, there, that's better, right? So I think the biggest difference would be this, that clock, perk or whatever there, where it's just firing your guns. Yeah, but yeah, she has this Sponge thing. To me, that's super similar to, Luigi's base trait. That's damage reduction, right? And then the other option you have is using DeRevel, right? Paolo DeRevel. So I have him on my like Giuseppe Verdi and like Lepanto and stuff like that. Any like of my battleship secondary builds, and so you'll see Franz von Hipper again there, and then I have what is this, Azulane Bismarck, right? But you could pick anybody that does any, like it's not that big of a deal. It's such a small amount of whatever, right? Like pick somebody that buffs secondaries, right? So I played with Paolo DeRevel on the Michelangelo a few times, and I was just like, this properly meticulous is always the one I want to pick, but then there is that master mechanic perk that would get you some extra heals, right? You could get 2 heals, so you would get 2 plus 2 heals, which would be better than fully packed, but then I would get 1 less smoke screen, so like that's the trade-off. You can't use running with scissors because those are, you get better rudder shift, but like most of the perks from running with scissors are unique to battleships, right? So like you'd have to kind of think about that. But yeah, that's kind of like what I've been playing around with, right? So if I change my mind and change it up, right, we'll do some more videos with Michelangelo. I seem to enjoy the ship, so we'll probably play with it quite a bit. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Like I always say, we're doing Legends videos most days, so make sure you are following the channel, and we'll see you tomorrow.